said before, if you haven't seen our podcast before, we're available on the Garage Therapy channel and also streaming now to the Jonny Shield Detailing channel. So don't forget to hit all the like buttons and the subscribe buttons so you can see when we pop up and when we're going to be coming live. So let's bring in the guys. Let's bring in all the boys. Let's bring in Maz, Rodger, and our special guest tonight, which is Imran. How you doing, guys? You well? How you been?
Yeah, good. How are you getting on?
Good.
The Tartan Tornado. How did you think about that one? That was a bit of an intro, and it's making your debut in the Tartan Tornado.
I'm actually wearing tartan pajamas, believe it or not. So.
Good boy. Good boy. We've actually got an interpreter with us, so just in case people don't in the audience don't understand Scottish.
How are we doing? Good. We can see the chat. Hello, everyone. Let's type in the chat.
Yeah, we're all good now. We're all live.
We're all live. We've got about 10 people on, but hopefully that will go up as time goes on, and then people can obviously watch it back when we upload it and edit it.
Picking up the weather. Have you guys still got snow? Or are you guys all right up there? We're finished snow now.
No, we've had rain all day. We've got flooding down south.
Have you?
Yeah. It was rain all day. It was really cold. Dribbling. Yeah, it was really cold the last several days. Loads of frost.
Yeah.
I think we had a little bit of snow last week, actually, a tiny bit, a flutter, but obviously nowhere near as what you guys get up.
Snowed in.
In
well, we were all right, to be fair. No, Aberdeen was really bad, but we were actually all right, to be fair.
Too far south. Too far south.
Surrounded by water.
So it's a great time to be testing that Garage Therapy citrus, Imran. Do you know what I mean?
I need to test Maz's Porsche.
Yeah. It will never match your Rolls Royce.
One day. I told you we'll get one together.
Oh dear. Right, so anyway, welcome everyone. Welcome to Garage Therapy Insights Live. Obviously, our first ever guest, aside from us three currently on here, Jonny, Rodger, and I. Our first ever guest is no other than Imran from In2Detailing. For those across the world, mainly in the US and in Asia, and obviously in UK, people who may not know who Imran is. Imran is the owner of a well-established, long-running, famous reseller and distributor in some cases as well. In2Detailing. Welcome, Imran. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. It was only right, so we get all of the declarations out of the way. Imran has a very special place in our heart. He was, were you actually the first reseller? I think you were, weren't you?
I think he was, yeah.
Second.
County. Yeah.
County was first.
But they're no longer here, so we'll exclude them from the...
It's longest running.
You were one of the first resellers that took us on, and most definitely the reseller that really helped us establish ourselves in the UK and give us credibility, I would say, because when you start hitting the major resellers, you do get good exposure to people in the UK. So putting that out there, Imran's one of our favourites, and it's only right that he came on first. He can't be the only favourite. He can't be the only favourite. Otherwise, I'll include the other distributors and resellers that we got. Because I've got to do this for lots of other resellers, right, and distributors. So I've got to say that they're my favourite when they come on next time.
Did you know you're my favourite?
Did you know?
Did you know?
Right, so I'll start off with the first question, and this is the most rudimentary question we're going to ask tonight. Imran, tell us a bit about yourself, how you got into the detailing industry, and how In2Detailing came to be.
Oh, how far back do we go? Firstly, I'll say I can see the chat, so if anyone wants to ask any questions, fire on. I can read them.
Yeah, please. I'm taking notes.
So, a bit about me. Where do I start? Okay, so graduate with pharmacology degree from university, from there, I had several jobs, worked in a call center, worked in car phone warehouse. I worked as a sales rep. And then I got sort of made redundant from the sales rep job. I had nothing really planned what to do. So then I moved from there to selling online, hence the reason Saver's Choice came about. And I was selling random stuff, which anyone who's followed us from back in the day will know. I was selling things like Play-Doh, soft toys, anything, any bits and bobs I could get my hands on. I was selling online, generally on eBay and Amazon. Fast forward a couple of years, that kind of slowed down, really slowed down. And my passion has always been cars. I've always loved cars. I like cleaning cars. I like my cars to be clean, but not to the extent of proper detailing. I mean, I went like fallout remover, tire remover, clay bar, bit of wax. Never really did much machine polishing, but I used to enjoy cleaning my cars. And from there, I thought, well, I'm going to start selling some car cleaning products. And when I first started, I used to sell them through Saver's Choice, the website Saver's Choice. And you really need kind of a USP, I guess, when you start. So my USP was I'm going to offer free delivery on everything. And that kind of never really worked very well because, as you know, the margins in detailing are really tight, especially from garage therapy, super tight from garage therapy. But, you know, the margins are quite tight. So it never really worked with the free delivery. So I thought, right, what else can I do? One of the first brands I got in, I won't mention them, but they weren't garage therapy. But one of the first brands I got in, I had them, they were fine. And then I tried to approach other larger brands to try and get them in. And of course, I was getting knocked back all the time. Auto Finesse, for example, being one, I got knocked back. A couple others I won't mention, I got knocked back. And they said, listen, we don't want to supply any stock, because I was fairly new to the industry. So I thought, right, what can I do? So I thought there was a lot of smaller brands. I say smaller brands in inverted commas, not startup, but not like well-established brands. Should I mention names?
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah, so things like Duca, ODK, smaller-ish brands like that. And I thought I could be like a home for the smaller brands, and people who want to try out those brands can come and buy them from me. The issue with smaller brands, and this is nothing against smaller brands whatsoever, is when you're playing against big players in the industry, you either have to outmarket them, have better products than them, or do something different to establish yourself. Unfortunately, the way a lot of the smaller brands go is we're going to basically discount our stuff so it's cheap enough for people to try. It's actually something garage therapy have actually never done, which is why I really like the way you run it. But a lot of smaller brands, so for example, the retailer shampoo at £10, but they'll run like a 50-60% sale. Now, granted, they're going to still be making money on the product. As a reseller, if they're giving us X discount and they're selling it to you public at a cheaper price or the same price as we're buying it for, it makes it extremely difficult for us to sell the products. So that kind of...
So for context, Imran, are we talking about near the beginning of your journey?
Near the beginning, yeah, very near the beginning.
So give an idea of what the time frame was. Was it 10 years ago? Was it 15 years ago?
Yeah, so I started In2Detailing. So Saver's Choice started 2010. That's when I first opened that. In2Detailing started approximately 2015-ish. 2014, I started selling detailing products.
Yeah.
2016, In2Detailing started. So this is still in the start of In2Detailing. Prior to that, when it was still in Saver's Choice, microfiber cloths was always my thing. I used to like having microfiber cloths. I actually bought some from a well-known retailer. I won't mention the name, but I bought some from a well-known retailer, and they were really nice cloths when they got out of the packet. The unfortunate thing is when you wash them a few times, the quality started to degrade. And I thought, well, I like good quality microfibers. So I had a big search online, and I was looking through forums, etc., etc. Eventually found cloths from a company in America, and they had these plush microfiber cloths, company in America. And I bought some from them in America, imported them over to the UK for my own personal use. This is not to sell. And I really liked them. Contact the company. I said, listen, I really like your microfibers. I'm running a website called Saver's Choice. Can I buy some and sell them? And they said, yeah, no problem. You have to buy a box of 100. Fine. So I was buying them a couple of boxes of 100 and putting them on the website. They're still known today as our 470 GSM. They're still selling today from 2014. The same cloths, not from the supplier changed, but the cloths are the exact same. Is anyone asking any questions? I can't see. I'm not looking. Oh, fine.
No,
okay.
it's all right. They're just chatting
Yeah.
away,
So
mate.
if you actually go back on Detailing World and search for Saver's Choice Microfiber, you'll actually find a thread someone made on there saying they actually purchased our cloths on eBay and they were amazing quality. They were really surprised at the quality of them. And that kind of kicked us off on Detailing World, selling stuff. But of course, people didn't want to buy detailing products from Saver's Choice. Saver's Choice is selling all random stuff, and then you got detailing products in there. They like to have detailing products as one of the website. In2Detailing was then born. So it started in 2015 as In2Detailing selling only detailing products. At the time, we had 2 brands. One of the brands then let us go, so we technically only had 1 brand, and that's when the smaller brands started coming in because they were the ones who would give us supply.
So you started in 2010. 5 years later,
yes,
one of the 2 bigger brands you had, stopped doing business with you for whatever reason.
Yes.
We won't go into that. That happened.
Yeah.
And then you thought, and you pivoted your strategy towards getting in smaller,
correct,
brands, cottage industry brands to diversify, I guess, your business model against, away from, I guess, all the more established resellers in the UK.
Lower MOQs. So I never had much money at the start. Lower MOQs, less to get the brand in, it costing me less. The discounts were obviously good because they were happy to have a reseller on board. So it just made sense to try and get some bits from smaller brands. One of them at the time was actually Crystal Clean Detail. They were much smaller back then in 2015. They were kind of just starting. I think I was first or second ever reseller for them as well at the time. So yeah, it was a lot of smaller brands we had in at the time. But moving forward, of course, we were not really getting the orders because these brands were doing heavier discounts themselves, and it became more problematic for us to get sales. I mean, I'm talking sales numbers wise. In a week, I'd be lucky to get 5 orders. Right, it's really not sustainable. I was still obviously selling the other stuff through on eBay, the random products. Yeah, that was still running on the side, but it got to the point that literally I was making no money. Fast forward till so I'll mention someone who perhaps people might not like mentioning. John at Forensic did a video on microfiber cloths. You may remember one of the very first ones he did, a super test of all microfiber cloths. Number 1 came Carpro Boa. Number 2 was the Rag Company Eagle Edges, and number 3 was ours. So that video is probably still there. And of course, number 1.
Yeah, just to be clear to everyone, like John Forensic, he was really like the pioneer, wasn't he, of propelling detailing from Detailing World, where it was all text, big long posts about how people detailed cars. Then you had some really good testers on Detailing World testing the products. Brian Woods springs to mind on there, and John really like dived into that world, didn't he, and brought that testing from Detailing World into the YouTube space as well, which really made him unique, right? Because I remember seeing his first videos, his evolution from the first videos he done doing microfiber products, right? And that's when I think I remember that's when I first heard of you, because he said he got his microfibers from yourself, didn't he, Imran?
Me too.
He was doing the testing.
Yeah.
So and obviously that propelled him and you as well, right?
Yes, that's what propelled us actually at the start. So because obviously the Eagle Edges of the Rag Company were around about £6 each, and ours were sitting at about £3.50, £3. So they're almost half the price, and the quality was very, very similar. He said the top 3 were very, very close. And actually, he said to me, Imran, if I'd factored price higher in the percentage score, he said I would have won. So quality-wise, they were quite similar, and that's what propelled us. People started buying more and more cloths, and we were buying more and more. I actually happened to meet the supplier in Germany about a year later. This was the very first time I went to Germany, and I met the supplier from Korea there, and ended up buying the microfibers directly from Korea, and still do to this date. But at the time, we're still buying from the American supplier, and we were selling a lot of cloths, a lot of microfibers. That kept the money rolling in and allowed me then to expand, because now people knew of In2Detailing through the microfibers. Approaching brands became a bit better because they may have heard of us a little bit.
In
So they were like, okay,
authority
this
come
guy-
up, did it?
Yes, you gain a bit more. I don't want to say respect, but you gain a bit more. How they were a bit more aware of us, shall we say? So they were quite happy to supply us, and from there the brand started to build, and then it just snowballed to where we are today.
The
yeah.
timing of that's pretty good though as well, to be fair, because like I said, when I first started hearing of you was when through the John Forensic channel. It was like Into Detailing, and I think it was it was the first video that I saw was or when he started to mention your name more regularly was obviously when he was doing like when you brought your I think it was when he was doing his DAS 6 Pro trying to find a good beginner's machine polisher. And I think you had I don't know whether you had your machine polisher out then from Into Detailing.
I think one of the very first videos I think he did was maybe the DAS 6 Pro, and then from then on he moved on to our DA machines, which of course you fast forward, we start bringing in our own DA machines.
Yeah.
And then of course testing goes around the DA machines, people like them, then you get more customers. It's just detailing becomes a lot of word of mouth, this industry. So if someone will use one machine, they'll tell their friends, okay, I've bought this machine, and they'll buy the machine, or if it's reviewed on YouTube, things like that. So John certainly, with his reviews of things, boosted us to another level in terms of sales, and allowed us to expand.
Another thing as well, Imran, because I'm trying to think back, because I remember, before we knew each other, I remember buying from you.
Yeah.
When we were detailing in the early days, getting in microfibers and stuff like that. But you also had later on, as you said, you also had brands that a lot of other resellers just didn't have, right?
Yes.
So you had a lot of I think Tax Systems was one of your big brands that you brought in. So you weren't just reselling, were you? At one point, you also distributing at certain points. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the distribution side. So I started off the distribution side with microfibers because I was able to buy from China and Korea the microfibers direct, as well as other accessories. That side of distribution came about. People approached us and said, "Listen, can we buy some microfibers from you?" And we built a reseller structure from there. And then Tax Systems one we took on very, very early as a distributor for Tax Systems. Now, of course, we've got the MJGCs as well. But you're right. We did start to approach some brands from abroad to kind of separate us because similar to how we had the smaller brands here and they're running sales, etc., sometimes approaching smaller brands in America, which are not super established there. If they run a sale in America, it doesn't really affect me here because they can run their own sales. It's not affecting. It's a different market, a different country. So again, you've got things like we had Gary Deans a long time ago. Remember, I think he was one of the pioneers for rinseless washing. The Gary Dean wash method people still talk about today. So we brought in. We had Gary Deans at the time. We brought in Migliore. We brought in Prima Car Care, Armor Detail Supply more recently, and you had obviously Tax Systems. We got the MJGC foam lances. So it's a case of trying to bring in, and some of them do well, some of them don't. Listen, there's multiple brands I've brought in that have just not done well.
So what do you think? So that this leads us on to more industry related questions, but what do you think is the challenges that brands face? Because you mentioned like the smaller brands having to compete with the larger brands, which we were obviously very well aware of. And obviously not every brand succeeds, right? Not every brand sells for whatever reason. And some brands do amazingly well. So what do you think are the contributing factors between like failure and success from a reseller perspective and also a brand perspective?
So one of the top ones I would say, obviously the product needs to be good, but I would say the top one is marketing. How well you can market your product. You can have a really, really good product. If it's not marketed well, it just won't sell, in my opinion. Because I've tried some products from brands, phenomenal products. They just work really, really well. And they're great products, and they just don't sell. And that's not because the product's poor. It's because they're not shouting about how good their product is. And whether or not they shout about it or they give it to influencers shout about this, they have to get the name of the product out there. They have to get the product out there. If they don't, it's just not going to sell. And there's multiple products I can name that have done that. So marketing is one. However, Garage Therapy have not been super high on marketing. So how have you managed to succeed where others who perhaps are doing more marketing haven't. And then that becomes USP. What does your product do that's different from others? And when you bring up products like Decon shampoo, like your wheel shampoo, which A, are great products, but B, are a little bit different because your products work different to others in the terms of yours are more technical. They're not just a product we've brought out, that's a product we're going to put on the shelf. It has to do exactly what we wanted to do in exactly the way we wanted to do it. And it's a bit more of a technical product than many of the other ones out there. So
Do you know
they're
what,
highly
though?
concentrated.
I'm just watching the lads, Imran, smiling so hard inside, but keeping a straight face.
Is it?
Look at their faces, just so pensive and like coy and like it's just everything you just said was just.
He's being nice. You should see the. You should
He's
hear the
been-
things
you know
he
what?
says to me offline.
The chat literally just said, Johnny's prepped him. Johnny's prepped him well. You know what I mean? Like Johnny's paid him to say that. You know what I mean? Like,
No, but
so
if you take a product like Decon shampoo, it was a very unique product at the time.
It was.
Because you've got a product there that A, you can use as a Decon shampoo, you can use as a pre-wash, you can use as a tire cleaner, an engine cleaner. It's got so many uses to it. You can use it to unclog coatings. It's got so many uses. It's not just a regular shampoo. That's
Thing is,
different.
they were around before Imran, but they just weren't punching through like the way that Decon shampoo did.
Yeah.
Like you said, you know, like the Car Pro versions and other versions out there were out there, but they just weren't just kicking it. Does that make sense? And so that was where when and I'm talking as if they're not here in the room, is when the products came out. It's when it started to for me, when they first came out, that was when it was like, what the hell is that over there? Does that make sense? And it also threw us off a little bit because we're like, it's a new brand, if that makes sense. How are these guys doing that, if that makes sense? And so, you know, leading into the marketing and stuff.
But Decon was that was your first product, right?
Yes, first 3 products. Yeah, we had 3 products:
Yeah.
wheel shampoo, car shampoo, and Decon.
Which was the first bestseller? Was it the Decon?
Decon.
Yeah, Decon, I think, was.
But the thing is, once
Pros
you get them hooked on 1 or 2 products, they'll then be loyal to the brand. A lot of times, they'll then try out, okay, well, what's coming out next? Because these products are so good, what's next? Because we want to try it. It has to be good because these other products are so good.
Yeah,
and of course, you guys speak quite technically on the products. It's not just like, okay, we brought a quick detail. It's great and it's super slick and it's super glossy. There's a technical aspect to each product. You've got Sigma, you've got Quick Detailer. They're different and they're different uses, and you're able to technically explain why they're different. And people like that. People who like that sort of thing will like that. People who like fancy marketing or funny videos will like that kind of product. But people who like technical products will like them and they'll stick with them. So that's just so I think you might do well, even though your marketing's not super high out there.
Well, you know what, you say that though, right? You say that, and I'm just gonna caveat that just a little bit because for the reason why I got involved with the GT guys was because I was trying to prove that I was trying to prove to myself whether they were good or not. Because I think, you know, in the 2020 era, when obviously, you know, COVID happens, just like I think the synergy between both your brands is quite interesting in the fact that you had the perfect timing of when John was the only YouTuber really doing big reviews on YouTube, and any brand that would have got affiliated with John at the time was going to be successful because of the direction of travel his channel was going in. Does that make sense? And so you hit that mark at the right time. These guys did the same thing. It wasn't on purpose. It was just by chance that 2019 they started to get those products out. 2020 happened. COVID happened. They had the products that would get in the ripples across the thing they'd done all the groundwork to bring out these kind of the Econ shampoo. It was the hero product. Eyeballs were on the scene. The YouTubers just wanted to. One YouTuber did it. John was doing the videos for GT at the time, and then the ripple effects happen across the board, where all the YouTubers are like, "That's doing views. That's doing numbers. Let's get it on the channel." But the thing that GT did on the back end, like you just said, is gave information. They gave the technical. So they went and did all the videos, basically saying, "This is great. This is great. This is great. This is amazing." But then on the back end, GT were like helping the YouTubers and giving them advice, exactly like they've done with me, is why it's great, why it works, and also not mothering me and telling me to go and play with it and then find out. And there's that kind of balance. Same with you with the microfiber towels. You need one hero product to get everyone interested. Does that make sense? One hero product, one thing, get the attention. It's like you go into Asda to buy a pint of milk, but it's at the back, and then you walk out with sweets and everything by the time you've got out. If that makes sense, you need to have something that attaches attention. And you know, it's interesting to hear you talk about the GT stuff because it's in this country, in the UK, what you're saying is kind of the norm amongst detailers and all that sort of stuff. So it's for me, it's fascinating to, you know, I know the guys are here, and it's almost like I'm talking to you.
Andrew in the chat asked a really good question, and it's along the lines of the question I asked you, Imran. He says, "What effect does a mediocre product have on a brand that up to a point smashed it out the park?" So I think what he's referring to is
where's this question? Can you see it? I can't see it.
It's on the YouTube
chat.
What effect does a
what
effect does a mediocre product have on a brand that up to that point smashed it out of the park? So basically, you've got a load of good products, but one product just doesn't whistle.
So from your perspective, from your resellers, do you see?
Yeah.
Do you see like brands when they release products that, you know, maybe they struggle after a while, like they reach a height and then the subsequent releases haven't quite hit the mark? And do you see that as a reseller, or and obviously you're not just a reseller, right? You're also an enthusiast as well. So what's your perspective on that?
Yeah. So I would say it's unlikely that a brand's going to have every single product that you love. They'll have products that you like, and they'll have products that work well, but not every single product you will love. And that's going to be the same across many brands. So do brands bring up products that perhaps aren't quite as good as others? Absolutely. Does that lower customers' trust of the brand? In my opinion, no. I think the brand, they'll still trust, because they might say, okay, well, because all the, so let's just say, for example, brand X has brought out 5 products that are phenomenal. They love them. They're great. They bring out number 6, and number 6 doesn't quite hit the mark. It's not, doesn't quite work. They will take that as that product does not work for me, not that that product is poor. Now, if they then go 6, 7, 8, 9, then they might start to say, okay, well, one second, something's not right here. But if product 6 is not quite good enough for them, they'll see that as that's a them thing rather than that's a brand thing. And they'll still stick with the brand for the other products. It's not they're going to say, well, that product's rubbish, I'm not going to switch to another brand entirely. So in my opinion, it doesn't have a massive effect on the brand overall, unless they start bringing out multiple products that that particular customer doesn't like, in which case they might start to switch.
Can I bolt onto that as well? Bolt onto that same topic, but with a sort of side. Then how much effect can a YouTuber have on a brand in its entirety if they're reviewing that one product, and then all the YouTubers jump on that product and review it and give it a bad rating? How does that have effects for you?
So this is an interesting one.
I didn't want to dig you out there. A
bad review on a product, depending on the YouTuber, can have a significant effect on the product or the brand overall.
For you trying to sell them as well, right?
Yes, for us trying to sell them as well. Unfortunately, it's just the way of the world, because a lot of people follow certain YouTubers, and let's just say they've got 50,000 subscribers, for example, and they get a product X, and they say this product is just garbage, it just doesn't work. Now, 2 things can happen. One, you might get a little spike in sales because people want to say, okay, how bad is this actual product?
Right.
But on the flip side, there will be, if you were selling a lot of them already, there will be a drop in the sales. 100%, it happens. And unfortunately, there's no way around it, because bad press is bad press. It's not, some people say, well, bad press is always it's good press, but it's not. In terms of products, if someone says a product is rubbish, it will affect sales 100%. It can't not, especially in the detailing industry, because what happens is, and this is a strange way YouTube works, or certain social media works. If a YouTuber does a video and says this product's bad, you'll find 100 comments underneath with people saying, oh yeah, that product's bad. Even, I don't know why. And then if a YouTuber says the product's great, you'll see all comments saying the product's great. Now I don't know why. People who, even if a YouTuber said a product's not great, there'll be people who have tried the product and said it's great, but for some reason they don't comment saying, no, I've tried that product and it actually works really well for me. So whether or not those comments are removed or what, I don't know. But sometimes on bad reviews, you'll see a lot of comments saying it's bad, which then lowers people's confidence in the product.
The nail that sticks out will get hammered, is the saying.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. You don't want to be against the tide, against the rest of the group saying it's bad. You don't want to be
I think it's important to say as well that we've, certainly from our point of view, we've always encouraged all YouTubers that we work with to just be honest and say what they feel, and give an honest, impartial review, even if it's bad. And I think as long as you operate in a transparent, open way, and you don't try and manipulate the reviews to do certain things, you know, in a negative way. You can obviously suggest stuff if you have that kind of dialogue with them. Then I think it's ultimately it's always going to be a win for the customer, which is what we want, right? We want happy customers, and I guess it's the same for you, right? Is you got to, you know, you have your own products, Imran, right? So when you send that machine polisher out there, you just got to accept that you're going to get critiqued on it, right? And vice versa, they're going to say really nice things, and that's also going to have a positive effect. So you've got to balance that.
Yeah. I mean, listen, when a product goes out for review, there's your product can't always be the best. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. So we've sent some products to John for review, and my thing with John is always quite simple. Listen, I'm just going to send you a product. If you want to review it. If you don't. It's fine. I just want you to try it and let me know what you think. Sometimes I'll put it in a video. An example is our ceramic crystal wax. He put in a wax shootout, and I think there was 5 or 6 waxes. Ours came second from the bottom. There was certain criteria it didn't meet of his. I think Bill Hamber won that one, but ours came second from the bottom. And listen, did it affect sales? Slightly, but in reality, I know the wax is good. Customers who have tried the wax, they liked it, and they continue to buy from us. But did it affect sales? Absolutely it did. And listen, it's a risk you take. If you send a product for review and it gets a bad review, unfortunately, some of you have to take on the shit. Just don't sell it for review.
I just also want to put it out there. I personally think as well. I think John is a necessity for this industry. I think he's done a great service to this industry. He's transformed the way detailing is perceived in the world and the way products are tested, and that is a net good to the industry. And there is going to be winners and losers in what he does. But you know, you can't blame John for anything really, because he's helped. I would say, like I said, he's a net good to the industry, and a lot of brands, including us, have a lot to thank him for, as well as other YouTubers in the industry. I can see Graham in the comments there. You know, we have a lot to thank him for. Paul Dolden, Heather, all these people. You know, it's a tough job, and Jonny as well. It's a tough job creating good content for brands, and you know, I think the more of them and the more honesty there is in the industry, the better.
To be honest with you, though, in the YouTube sector, right, there's a lot of people that most of the people that do YouTube are in our country are enthusiasts, right? So not all of them are actual detailers. You know, so John was the closest one, I think, that went for a scientific approach, for a forensic approach, with data sheets, with a certain testing criteria, which gave the audience, or me especially in the early days, some validation into why I should buy those products that he was recommending, if that makes sense. Rather than just saying, here's a car, I'm going to snow foam it, did the dirt come off? Does that make sense? There was processes and stuff which validated his claims, which is why it was so important for him in the industry at the time, going from that detailing world, like Matt said, into a video more format. The thing is, most YouTubers really don't have a lot of knowledge on the testing side of products, and so there's not a lot of negativity towards a lot of brands unless they've seen someone like John say something negative, and then they'll can only see the negative, and then they'll rush out to buy that product, and then that's where the thing happens, if that makes sense. But the testing isn't always the same, if that makes sense. And so the majority is always quite positive. It's been positive for GT. It's been positive for you as well, working with this.
And the last thing with John, obviously he did a review on the snow foam, but what I would say is you handled that quite well, because he had obviously done it on the MJC foam lance, which, as you know, produces a super thick foam. But what I will say from that video, which he did, I never noticed a drop in sales from snow foam, to be fair, from even the video. And GT snow foam, as you know from our orders, it still sells really well. So yeah, it's a really good
V3's coming out now, mate, so it's going to get compared to everything again. We're going to go round that dance again, baby. I said to him, that's the last time you bring out another snow foam, because it's just, I'm getting bored of comparing it to everything else again. Do you know what I mean? I'm getting tired.
I'm waiting for my sample bottle of Zeta. I've not got it yet. Shocking behaviour. Shocking behaviour.
Cheeky little Zeta. She's been already in the comments today.
We've sent a lot of stuff out today to a lot of the YouTubers and influencers, and we've started sending out the products to all of the resellers and distributors. So Imran, your one's on the way. Don't you worry.
Mine's on the way, and I'm gonna apologise to absolutely no one for flooding my YouTube channel with it all. As Conor McGregor says, I apologise to absolutely nobody.
It's my favourite type of product. Spray on, rinse off is literally my favourite type of product. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Okay, so it leads on. It's a lovely lead on to my next question. Do you think that social media, right? So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, etc.
Yeah.
Right. And let's park Detailing World, right? Because Detailing World is an old form of sort of social media in one sense. It's an older platform. But do you think it's harmed detailing standards? And do you? I mean, obviously, you have a lot of. We talk a lot, Imran, right? So you have a lot of detailers coming to you saying, Imran, I need something to do this, or I've seen X on social media. Do you think that's good? What do you recommend? So how do you think that social media has helped, like you and the detailers in that respect?
So from a product perspective, obviously reviews on products, and certainly positive reviews on products, helps us massively, right? So if a YouTuber does a positive review on a product, you will definitely notice an impact on sales, a sudden burst in sales. I could give multiple examples where a YouTuber has done a review on product X. We could sell 200 and 250 bottles in a weekend of that product because they've done a positive review. So in that sense, great.
Sorry.
On the flip side, what people see on social media is sometimes not 100% the truth, because editing is involved or can be involved. I'm not going to blame any brands for this, but some brands will do it. So for example, they'll spray a product on and they'll pressure rinse it off, and the panel is 100% spotless, completely clean.
Yeah.
How do you know that they've not done that multiple times in order to get a totally clean panel? You know, sometimes the results cannot totally be replicated, and people will go out and buy the product, and it will do a decent job, perhaps not quite as good as the one on the YouTube video, and they'll think, okay, well, that's what it was meant to do. So yes, there is editing involved.
I don't think there's a bending of the truth with the editing. I just think there might be, for me, when I watch those videos, I think it's down to the car, the protection that's on it, all the other variables that makes that product work better or worse on different cars.
Do you not think people over exaggerate the results of the products?
They overhype them. Hype's a big thing. Hype's a big word. Even hype we have on YouTube now. So
isn't that the same?
Please hit that hype button.
Isn't that the same though? Isn't it, Johnny? That a hype is not is not much the same than post production. Editing. Is that not the same as hype?
I'll give an extreme example, and people have seen this. Comment right in the comments if you've seen this. My dad, right? He pulls me up. This must be a few weeks ago. He pulls me up and says, "Imran, have you got this product? I saw it on YouTube on one of these shorts or whatever." He said the car was scratched and dented, and all the car was totally. And he said he got this liquid and he just wiped it over his car. All the scratches gone, everything gone. Car was 100% new. Now that's complete nonsense. I said, if that product existed, you could.
I know what product that is, by the way.
Why would you have a warehouse full of products? Yeah. If one thing you just put on a liquid and all scratches are gone, there's no need for Menzena, there's no need for Shawls, there's no need for Scotch compound, Sonax compounds, we don't need compounds. This does everything. My uncle came up to me and he brought his car to me. He'd scraped it or something down the side. He asked if I could polish out the side scratch. But before he asked if I could polish out, he said, "Imran, I saw this liquid on YouTube. You just wipe it on and scratches are gone." I said, when you find it, you do tell me. So that's a product out there that it cannot possibly give that result.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. No, and that's from bigger brands in the industry, not small brands, by the way.
Yes, but that's an extreme example. But there will be some brands, in my opinion, out there who do exaggerate the results that they get.
I can't disagree with that. That's a really good example.
So what about the detailers though? Because you have a lot of because you have a walk-in element to your business, don't you, Imran? So how have you seen that dictate, you know, their questions to you and their buying habits? Because obviously they come in and ask you because they rely on you, right? You know that you're a source of knowledge and truth for them. So do you think social media has impacted how they come in and ask you questions and what they're looking for?
So what will happen, right, is sometimes they'll see products being used and those are the products they want, right? Or they'll say, oh, I saw this on this video, he polished his car and he then applies ceramic coating and say, what would you recommend? I've got X car. So sometimes they want to replicate the results, not necessarily use the same product. So they'll say, what can I do to get this result? And from there we can have a conversation on products. Other times, and more frustratingly, they'll say, okay, I've got, let's say, Ford Focus. It's got some very minor swirling on it. I'm looking to just do a single stage correction. Can you recommend a pad and compound? And it's difficult for me to recommend a pad and compound. We do so many pads and compounds. So I'll say, for example, I'll say, oh, well, go with, how bad is it? Oh, it's very, very minor. Okay, go for Sonax Perfect Finish with, you know, a Lake Country CCS green, for example. And they'll say, oh, well, I saw somebody on YouTube using Scholl S20 with a hex green. I say, well, okay, fine. You can get the same result. You just use whichever one you want. I'm just giving you a record. If you want, I can go through 10 different combinations that'll give you similar results. You choose one. You asked me for a recommendation. I gave you one. And then they'll ask me, and we'll have a 10-15 minute conversation. And after the 10-15 minute conversation, they'll buy exactly what they had in the head when they came on the call. None of my recommendations. 15 minutes going out the window. But they wanted me to verify that the products they were choosing already were okay. So I'd rather, at the start of the call, he said, listen, I've seen on this YouTube channel they used S20 and hex green. Is that okay? Yeah, absolutely fine. Fire on. Don't ask for my recommendation and then not take the recommendation.
But there must be a flip side to that, right? There must be surely. Oh, I'm asking, I guess, that there must be examples whereby someone's come in and said, Imran, can you recommend me a shampoo or citrus? And you say, yeah, use this one. This is really good. KKD, for example, right? And then they come back to you a month later and say, Imran, that was amazing. That must happen, though, right? Yeah.
Yes, happens a lot of times. So so this is something with In2Detailing, of course. When you phone up, and this is to anyone who's watching this, when you phone up, you will 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, speak to me on the phone. So you phone up, you get me on the phone, and that allows you then to speak to me directly. When you email, a lot of the emails I reply, I don't reply to 100%, but I do reply to a lot of them myself directly. So yeah, of course, you do get people phoning up and say, Imran, I bought this from you. Or you phoned me up 2 months ago and you asked me for a quick detailer, and I said, okay, buy Garage Therapy quick detailer. And they love the product. And then they'll trust you now for future recommendations, which is always nice. They'll say, okay, well, you told us GTQD, now we're wanting shampoo, what would you recommend? And you tend to tell them Garage Therapy shampoo. Just buy everything Garage Therapy, you know. But yeah, but you do get that. So, you build a trust with the customer.
Yeah. So how much of the market do you think is driven by hype rather than performance?
Hype will take you so far. So you will have, and this is something which I won't mention the brand, but there was hype behind certain products within their brand. I won't mention them, but that drove sales and a spike of sales. When I say spike of sales, I'm talking about massive spike in sales, and the brand is now pretty much closed down. Hype will take you so far, and performance as well will take you so far because the products actually weren't bad. The third element is, of course, you need to ride that hype train, and from there, that's where the marketing comes in. You need to keep pushing that product out there because a YouTube video will get, let's just say, 50, 100,000 views, whatever it happens to get. A lot of those will be near the start. It will get some views afterwards, but a lot of the views will be within the first 2 weeks, month, or whatever, and you'll get a sudden spike in sales. But over time, those views will decrease, and then of course you need to keep the sales rolling in. So a spike of sales will take you so far, or hype will take you so far. But in reality, I think performance over the long term is better than hype.
Because you've got quite a unique perspective over and above. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I wanted you on. I mean, you're always going to be our first guest anyway because of the relationship you and I have. You know, I always call you the real owner of GT.
I've been called that sometimes. Some people think I own GT for some reason. I don't know why. But,
that's brilliant for me. I just forward all the complaints to Imran. But you've got a very unique perspective in the sense that, one, you've been going for so long in the industry. Two, you do have that trust. But three, you have a lot of brands under the umbrella of In2Detailing, and you obviously see you're not one of those owners that doesn't follow what's happening in the industry. You're really clued up as to what's happening in the industry, and that's actually really refreshing to see. Not because you're here, for any business owner that they love the industry that they're in, but you see all of the different brands, how they're perceived, what is hype, what is not hype, what's performance, what is not performance. So do you see a strong correlation between, do you see like a should I say a dominant story or dominant theme that always wins the day, or does every brand in your staple have a unique story that carries them to success, and then in turn obviously it helps you, right, because you're selling them at the end of the day?
So I think there's certain core brands where the brands will always sell well, but when it comes down to the not the big, for example, 3 or 4. If you take the big 3 or 4 out of the question, I think for other brands, I think having a personal interaction with the owners plays a massive part. So you guys, or certainly Maz, being Rodger, we don't see you as much, but Maz, certainly you, when you're out there on social media and you're putting yourself forward, people really like that personal interaction with you and being able to ask you questions.
I'm Rodger's body double, so that's what my job is. When
we dragged him in for a stunt double for a while.
I'm the ugly brother that sort of rolls in for him. Does that make sense?
But those brands where the owners are happy to get in front of the camera or get in front of their customers, I think they always seem to do better than ones that are just pushing.
It's personal touch. It's personal touch, isn't it?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
But that's not necessarily true for you, right? Because not many people. This is for everyone's benefit. This is Imran's first ever podcast and first time. I guess he's been live on camera. So this is his debut, which is amazing to think that you've been in the industry for 16 years now, right? And no one. You're sort of that amazing guy in the industry that no one really knows who they are, but they know you, if you get what I mean. You're trusted. So that obviously that you don't need to be in front of the camera to be successful.
That's
right?
true. That is true.
Yeah, not necessarily the camera, but you need to be in contact with the customers, whether it's face to face or even through social media or by voice or something like that. Like obviously more recently, by the way, anyone's following false on TikTok or something, you know. But more recently, I've been in front of the camera. But before that, they still used to hear from me. You phone up, you speak to Imran. You email, you're getting Imran. You hear John at Forensic mention Imran. You hear
Heather.
Adrian at Superchat, Heather, Adrian. They all mention Imran. So yeah, Car Boutique.
How many YouTubers you got?
I don't got anyone. They're all their own channels. I'm always happy for the recommendations, but yeah,
I can be bought, Imran. I can be bought, mate.
But yeah, certainly have it. Whether it doesn't have to be necessarily video, although I think video more recently, of course, I have been putting myself in front of the camera, and the feedback I had has actually been really good. But just being in contact with the customer directly, I think helps.
But can I just jump on that? I didn't know who you were. Never know what you look like. Never know. I've never spoken.
But you heard of me.
He's like the great and powerful Oz, isn't he? Basically, you just know this voice
because obviously I'm tapped into the YouTube creator sector, right? Obviously, I have worked with. I knew John from Clean and Shiny before I knew you personally. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So he's local to me. Blah 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 blah. We had friends at the locals, that sort of stuff. So I was always, and I think like with detailing products as well, I think we do get a bit tribal with everything in detailing. There's always a tribalism, and I think, like I said, whenever I found like this, like I said, all the different YouTubers are using it, and I think, like I said, when you've got people that you've worked with, trusted, you spoke to, you've given time to the YouTubers to have conversations, right? Surely, when they've used products or bought products from you, you've spent time with them and had conversations. You're building that relationship. Not just, they're still customers, aren't they? The YouTubers are customers. They buy products from you. They, you have an artillery of like machine polishers now that they want, you know, the beginner YouTubers like the Hairy Housewife wanted to use and test and stuff like that. So, you know, indirectly, your brand has done all the work like an old fashioned business should do. Front of house, good shop, SEO, you know, and all that sort of stuff. So you built a business before social media really even was as powerful as it is now. Once you've got that, the rest is really about pivoting and then adding. And I think you've just, you know, not to blow smoke up you, but I think you've done well to keep innovating as it's changing. And that's the hardest part, because other brands or other resellers aren't. They're sort of staying the way they are, and it's tough because the TikTok market, the YouTube scene, the social media, short form content is overtaking long form content now. So it's boom, 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 boom. Do you know what I mean? So it's reviewing products has completely disappeared off the planet. It's all short form TikTokers showing really fast clips of little bits and pieces and just featuring products here, there, and everywhere. And everyone seems to be a reviewer now across the board. Well, but not reviewing, if that makes sense. Showcasing, if that makes sense, rather than reviewing. Broadcasting is probably the better word. There's no reviews anymore. It's just broadcasting. It's just...
Which I gather it's probably frustrating for a lot of people that are into that idea, the technical, you know, quality of a product or for a brand, and all you're getting is snapshots, which doesn't give you much information. So there must be a split of public now, where there's short form those that are really happy for it, and then there's going to be those that don't like this form and they would like more information.
So how is short form had an impact recently then? That's my question. How has the long form versus the short form? Because you've seen all of it then. You've seen the John Forensic come up, you've seen the other YouTubers
and you've even started doing it yourself, Imran, right?
Yeah, we've seen you, you know, and I'm saying I'm concerned because I'm losing viewers. Not another bald guy with glasses that's taking my throne. I'm joking. Do you know what I mean? Good.
We're getting there.
You still got a bit more of it.
The short form works very well for people. I think people now have a shorter attention span, to be fair. They don't want to watch a long format videos. If they can just see a product, this is a product, this is what it does, this is the result at the end. I think it's much better from a sales point of view than a long format video.
Picture.
So I think for somebody who wants to watch something and see the full, shall we say, the full review, full aspect of what the product can do, I think the long form is really good. But a lot of people just want to see this is a product, this is what it does, this is the end result, and from then they'll make the buying decision based on that. But a lot of the short form ones, unfortunately, now they're very heavily affiliated, or they're getting paid to do them, which isn't disclosed. So they can be a little bit dodgy in that way. But
we'll dodge that topic.
We'll dodge that topic. Maz, you've been quiet. Come on, you tell us. Why do you think garage therapy has shot up massively? It can't just be COVID. There must be some trick behind it. Help the smaller brands out.
Obviously, it's into detailing that's made God, how long have you got? I think it's a combination of things. I think there's an element of luck. I think there's an element of planning, and I think there's an element of design as well. Is that you know, success isn't bought, it's built, and we've always had the idea that there was a lot of work to do, and we needed to put all of the jigsaw pieces in the right order to build the brand. And that's one of the reasons why we started slow. The other reason is that development of products from the ground up takes time, and
money.
You have to have the right chemists to do that, which we have got. And as we've grown now, we've got 3 different sets of chemists. You have to have money to do that. You have to learn as you go along as well. That's really important. We made a lot of mistakes when we were a younger company, as you know, Imran, and you helped us through some of those mistakes as well. And we adapted, and so it's not just one thing. It's a myriad of lots of different things as to why you know, we've had success. Could we be a lot better than what we have been? Absolutely. There's plenty of room for improvement. We're far from the finished article. There's so much we need to improve as a brand, and There's a lot of expectations on that are demanded of us from our customers, that we need to fulfill and meet their expectations, and
Yeah.
so it's not just one thing, mate. It's a lot of different things that I think goes to building a successful brand and business. And one thing I love about your business is that you have, as Jonny said earlier, you have adapted, you've pivoted, you've changed. I guess I'm quite lucky. Yeah, I guess I'm quite lucky that I did see you coming from the beginning, because I've been in the industry for a long time as well, and just watching your business develop over time, and how you've grown it, and seeing you taking on brands and dropping brands, and you doing your own business ventures, and seeing gaps in the market and pivoting towards those gaps, and that, I guess that's why you have a reputation. So, and I'm sure a lot of that wasn't just pure luck, right? That's hard work. I mean, I know that when I call you, you're never not working, ever. I mean, I think this is the only time I've ever seen you not working. And even when you're at Waxstock, you were working, even though you weren't part of the show. You're negotiating and stuff like that.
What I will ask is a question, right? So when you started off, you said things were a bit slow. Why are you? And this is something that Garage Therapy you haven't done from the start. Is you've never run massive sales. I don't think you've ever done much more than 15%. Really, I think Black Friday you do 15%. Were you ever tempted at the start? And there's a lot of brands. This is what I'm asking, because a lot of brands do this. Were you ever tempted? Maybe people aren't buying because of the price, so maybe the price should be a bit lower. And once we get the product in people's hands, then they'll pay full price for it. So why did you not go down that route? Out of curiosity. Because if I was a brand owner and I was starting a brand and I know my product's really good, I would think in my head, if I just give them 50% off and get the product in their hands, then when it's full price, they might still pay full price for it. I just need the product in their hands. Why did you not do?
And this is, I think this is an important topic for distributors and resellers, right? I think we're living in a culture now where discounting is the norm, and I don't think discounting is good for the industry. I don't think it's actually good for the customer, and it's certainly not good for the reseller distributor brand. However, there's factors that go into that. Is how, what pricing, how are brands pricing up their products? What margins are they building into their products? What price point are they adhering to? What what's their full end-to-end life cycle of the product in terms of quality and performance, and what is their value proposition? To be able to afford to do discounts, there has to be, I think there has to be an inbuilt, just be honest, there has to be enough margin in there to do that. But then it begs the question: are they pricing their products fairly? If you've got a shampoo that's 10 quid and you've got a shampoo that's 20 quid, well, how is the brand that's got a 20 quid shampoo justifying that cost? And that's why I love people like John Forensic, like Jonny, like Graham, like Heather, all those people that when they're reviewing a product, they're not just measuring it on one metric, does it work? They're measuring it on what's the packaging like, what's the customer support like, what's the pricing like, and they're weighting it. And so why didn't GT do discounts? Because we feel that we price our products fairly. And for every bottle we sell, we feel that the customers are getting quality, performance, and value enormously.
Can I simplify that a little bit?
Just one sec, Jonny. Right, sorry. and to finish off my monologue here, I think discounts it's a race to zero for the whole industry.
That's what I was jumping in.
Yeah, so we wanted to set the example that I'm not saying don't discount, and I'm not saying that's not a good strategy. It's absolutely a good strategy to have, but don't let that be your only tool at your disposal. And that's that's why we don't focus on that. We focus on other value propositions to encourage people to buy our products.
It's also the fact of when you think of like that, as this is an analogy that Jonny probably would like as well. It's the DFS effect. And in America, if you're listening, DFS is a furniture company which is constantly in sale. Constantly. No one has ever probably bought anything from DFS which is not in a sale. And that's what becomes the norm. And then when that becomes the norm, no one would ever buy anything full price in DFS because they've always been on sale. And then they've associated the value against the sale value, not the true value. Totally. And then that's what you're always stuck with. You'll never get away from it.
I also want to add to that is the fact of since I joined GT and talking, about the products, I mean, which has been a joining process has just happened organically, not on purpose, but like the fact of the matter is that in my own business, my hairdressing business, I've never offered discount on any haircut I've ever done. Never will do, never have done, never future going to do it, because everything I've ever offered for free has never been earned, never been worked for, and never been appreciated. And I think when you have, like I said, there are factors like Man said about margins and stuff like that, and you can have margins and stuff, but at the end of the day, as soon as you devalue your product to a certain perspective, you're almost giving the person who's buying it a reason not to enjoy it and love it. One of the things I found with GT, and Maz will tell you this, and Rodger will tell you this in the beginning, is I was scared to use the products at stronger dilution ratios because I just thought it was an expensive product range. I thought it was a lot of money. For some reason in your head, just what you hear across the borders and talking to other YouTubers and other creators, it's like, even when I reached out to the creators I work with on short form and stuff, and I said, would you like to try some of the products? I'll send you them. I'll send you them. Does that make sense? And you can play and give me some feedback and tell me whether I'm imagining what I'm seeing or whether it is. And they were like, and then we worked out the cost per value and all this sort of stuff per application and the ratios and how much it's costed. And you looked at it compared to G-Technic, other products. It was like, it's the same. Like, it's not any different. Like, it's the same, if not cheaper. So, like, actually, the price per application was really good. But the references I was talking to people is they weren't going to use the products because they said in the terms they're going to use is it was too bougie because they couldn't afford it. And now they're all using it full time. So they all use it now and they keep restocking, reordering and stuff. So that feeling, that attachment, like you said earlier about why has GT been successful, there's not one thing why it is, it's everything. But I think that's what, when you open a GT product, everyone, even the American audience that I'm seeing that I work with and the people in my chat, like, they get excitement when they unbottle it and open it and smell it and use it. And it's like there's a special moment when they want to use that product, if that makes sense. So I think not discounting your products can have a benefit to you because it keeps the value in that product. I don't know if that's what people agree with or not. That's open for discussion. But for me, it's why I don't do discounts. I don't offer discounts on anything I do, because as soon as you gave that little bit of discount, when I did in the early days, right back in the early stages to try and think you were going to get more money, those clients never lasted me a long time. They were the first to leave, and the ones that paid full price have stayed for 25 years, and they still continue to stay with me now.
I think Brandon in the chat has said one of the best comments I think I've ever seen, period. I don't want it. Honestly, I'm gonna take this now for now. He said that, I'm gonna use this for the rest of my life. I don't want a cheap haircut, eye surgery, or a helicopter ride. Wow, what a comment that is. That is brilliant. That
is a really good analogy. And I think that's where brands can get caught up with chasing the TikTok discount, this discount, this discount, that, and then some are successful. They do a lot of volume, so the discount becomes valuable. But if you don't do volume, you're dicing. Yeah. You're dancing. You've got to do volume, and then you become a slave to the content. Then, and it's like every video has to be about the content, and it's exhausting.
So this as a reseller, right? If a new brand and we get approached by I get approached by multiple brands to stock them.
Apologies.
The first thing I will do, the first thing I will do, I will talk about liquid brands. We won't talk about the brand I just got from you, got recommended by you. But we'll talk about liquid brands. The first thing I'll do is I'll go on their social media, I'll go on their website, and I'll check when was the last time you ran a discount. And how often do you run?
really?
And if I see they've run multiple discounts, it's a straight no. I'm not interested. What your products could be phenomenal, but I know 100% if you've run 10 discounts this year, you're going to run 10 again next year. And if you run 10, that's 10 times throughout the
Yeah,
year
yeah,
for
yeah.
10 weeks,
Yeah,
or 10,
yeah,
you've
yeah,
run it
yeah.
for 2 weeks at a time, 20 weeks. I'm going to get no sales because who's going to buy the product from me when they can get it from you for cheaper than I'm buying it from you already? If I can buy products from you on a sale,
100%.
if I can buy products from you on a sale that are cheaper than the products I'm buying from you as a reseller when I need to buy box quantities, I'm just not interested. So that's one thing I will say. If you're running multiple discounts throughout the year as a brand and you approach a reseller, chances are they're going to have a look through and see how often are you running sales. And if your products are running sales throughout the year, it's very unlikely that a reseller is going to take you on. A more established reseller. Some of the small ones may do because they're quite happy to get extra brands and add to their number of brands they've got. But as
100%.
if a larger one, I'm not putting myself in the larger category. Please don't put me in there. I'm a small time reseller.
You're massive.
But if
You run
approach a
Scotland, don't you?
He's the mayor of Scotland, for God's sake.
the big players in the game, if you go to a company like, for example, Clean Your Car or Clean and Shiny, etc., who are the big players in the game, not me, chances are they're going to have a look at the sales you've done. And if you've done multiple sales, it's highly unlikely they're going to touch you, unfortunately. So if you're a new brand owner, unfortunately, that's something you need to trust the price of the product, or price it at a price it should be at. You shouldn't price it at £50 and then discount it to 30. Just price it from 30 from the start and give your resellers discount based on the 30. Trust the pricing, trust your product's good, get it out there, and if it does well, and your brand does well, then you can approach resellers. But don't start discounting and then approach resellers because I've sold 100 bottles, but if you sold 100 bottles at 50% off, we're not going to take it off you at 50% off at the same price you're running the sale at because we're not going to sell any. The only reason you sold 100 bottles was because it was at 50% off. Come to us when you sold 100 at full price, and we can talk. But until then, just take that on board. If you
It's
are
a lesson for all you out there.
So yeah.
Just give his secret away.
Don't bother emailing him unless you got.
Yeah, don't contact Imran unless you're not doing sales.
You've been
You know
told.
what? I always appreciate when people contact me. I still get flattered when brands contact me. It doesn't matter what size they are. Sometimes when I've just started, they will be running for 2-3 months. I still get flattered that they even approach me and say, "Would you like to sell our product?" I don't think of myself as a big company or a big brand or anything like that. I still love it when people phone me and say, "Imran, we want to send you some of our products. Please try them out." And I'll try them out as best I can, and I will give them feedback on it, and we'll have a conversation. It's not necessarily I'll take the brand.
Imran, do you think then, like brands and existing brands you have, and obviously brands that approach you, do you think that they're doing enough to serve the professional and the enthusiast? I mean, like, because obviously you have some brands that are more scene orientated brands. You have some brands that are let's say body shop focused, professional focused. You have some brands that are sort of ceramic coatings focused, so a different end of the professional scale. How do you see that delineation in the industry? Do you think that the brands are doing enough?
In terms of what? So say that question again.
So do you think that brands are doing enough to serve like the professional end of the market and the enthusiast end of the market? Or do you think that they're spreading themselves too thin trying to serve both?
I think you have to spread yourself thinner to serve both. And I think the gap between professional and enthusiast is actually much smaller than it once was. I think there's much more enthusiasts now are getting into, for example, machine polishing, ceramic coating, etc. And then it comes a point where you're either, I think, a purely, how can I put it? Someone who likes washing the car or likes a clean car, but is not so technically aspected on it. So I don't know what you'd refer to them as. Not an enthusiast.
Prosumer.
Perhaps prosumer, yeah. We'll say prosumer. Then you've got the enthusiast, the pro-enthusiast, and the actual detailer. And I think those three are much closer together than the fourth category. So you'll have ones which don't really care so much about dilution, etc. There's kind of more TikTok focused, watching videos on there, etc., and buy products from brands on there. So they'll buy more products based on what they see rather than trying different brands, different products. But in terms of brands focusing on one or the other, if they're focusing on enthusiast, pro-enthusiast, and detailer, I think you've got you can focus on any of those three and you'll appeal to all three. So whether if you're approaching purely a professional who's a detailer, I think you're still going to appeal to enthusiast and pro enthusiast.
So what do you think appeals to your customer base? I mean, obviously you've got lots of different customers.
Yeah.
You know, you've got tens of thousands of customers, but what type of brand do you think appeals to people? Because an example, just excluding GT from this, but you've got great brands. You've got like Built Hambers, you've got the G Techniques, you've got the Car Pros, you've got the Gions, right? Then you have your Koch Chemis, right? And then you have your Chemical. You know, you've got all these different brands with all these different personas. What do you think really appeals to? Let's say someone comes into your store and they know nothing about detailing. What do you think appeals to them?
They'll then go on my recommendation. But if they're walking around, some of it will come down to how the products are presentation, how the products are presented. Other times they may have heard of certain products. So for example, let's just say they've heard of I've heard of Built Hamber Autofoam. Then sometimes they'll just stick at that one brand. And if they don't ask me, and I'll kind of say, well, I would recommend this product, etc. If they don't ask me, they'll have heard from somebody or somebody else. They've heard of a certain product from a certain brand, and they'll then stick to that brand. So some people are brand focused. So if they're buying, for example, Gion, they'll only buy Gion and they won't step outside of there. Whereas in my opinion, and certainly from our customers, they're quite happy to try. So if we have a customer and they'll buy eight products, chances are they're going to be from 4 or 5 different brands. They're not going to stick to one product. My kind of customer, most of them, or I would say a lot of my customers, tend to be slightly older. I don't think many of my customers are like your just pass your driving test and like clean your car type customers. I think a lot of mine are going to be older, and they are more technical, I would say, focused. So they would be more into the dilutions, the cost per wash kind of customers, rather than let me just get a product that's whatever price and I've seen it on TikTok kind of thing. So they'll tend to edge towards your likes of your Built Hamber, your Koch, your Garage Therapy, where the cost per wash aspect comes into play.
I think the people at home are spending more time on their cars than detailers. They've got one car, one project, one thing to do. So I think, like I said, with the likes of YouTube now, there's videos on all sorts: how to polish your car, how to apply a ceramic coating.
Yeah.
The products are way better in 2026. The product ranges are better, easier to apply, better instructions. The user experience is probably the most competitive it's ever been with labeling, bottling, all that sort of stuff. It's on that level, which obviously drives attention towards different brands as well, right? But I don't think no one is going to come in blindfolded anymore to you without any social media drive. And that's what I said about the marketing, is it? From something they've seen from somewhere, they're going to come with an idea. It's the same as when they come for a haircut. They've seen someone with another haircut that looked nice, and they think, will that suit me? And then your job is to go, well, actually, your car is probably, with that paintwork, probably better suited to this, if that makes sense, or the amount of miles you do, all that sort of stuff. This would probably be better for you, and then you direct them accordingly, right? But I think there's no way you can't be influenced now by anything. You don't live in a dark hole anymore. Everything has to be influenced.
I think at the same time as the word detailing itself has become more a well-known fact and common fact known. Because you asked 10 years ago, you'd asked detailing. What's detailing? If you said valeting, maybe they'd get something, but detailing was a very small amount of people that knew truly what detailing is. Now, I think everybody has come across the word or term detailing in some factor.
Rodger, when I started detailing in 2020 because of COVID, and I came back in 2020, in what was it, July time, and I told my customers what I've been doing, learning to detail. They didn't know what the bloody hell it was. None of my customers knew what a damn thing was. They said, what is it? I said, well, it's like professional car cleaning. What is that, a valet? I said, no, it's like a Jonny obsessed level. Do you know what I mean? Like obsessed Jonny level cleaner. Went, oh, right. When I'm polishing doors for like 4 hours, they're like, really? I'm like, people pay for that. And it's like, that was when I realized that 2020, like how much the car wash sector was so, going to the local car wash was just part of our DNA. And in America, detailing's like the car guys, and I think the petrol heads in America, and the car detailing scene in there is we're probably a bit behind. Are we a bit behind? Do people agree with that we're a little bit behind in that sense, that it's more popular over there to have someone come to your house and detail on your driveway, or do they have the same thing as we have?
I think
washes everywhere.
I think the economy and the service industry in the UK are just completely different to the US. I don't think that we're behind.
Massively.
It's just that it's a cultural difference, like
a numbers difference as well.
It's a numbers difference as well. Culturally, it's quite normal in the UK to have your bucket and sponge and wash on your driveway and clean your own car. People can't afford to go and spend £5-10 to get the car washed every week, so they do it themselves. So and an extension of that is having a valeter come round and clean your car. I would say has really taken off in the last 10 years. It's a more of a newer thing.
Is that the same as when people never used to have cleaners come around the house, and now everyone seems to have a cleaner because they're just
exactly precisely that. It's as our culture has changed in the UK that's become more US or more European style. That's my take on it anyway.
So how's it now then, Imran? 2026, we're going into a new year.
Yes,
it does seasonal factors make a difference to your business? Is your business seasonal, or is it like my business is seasonal, or for you is it just business as usual? How's it changing?
So the weather can play a part, but of course winter generally December, January will be a bit quieter, but you'll start to pick up from February onwards, and then because there's always some things, especially with the pro enthusiasts or the enthusiasts at home, they will tend to prep their car for winter or summer, etc. So as they're prepping the car for winter, they'll do a decon, they'll put on a good layer of protection, etc. So then you'll sell products for that. It tends to be over winter where they're washing their cars less. You'll sell less of the consumables like your snow foam, like your shampoo, etc. Right. So you will have a drop in sales, I think, over December, January. But then as it comes to February, March time, they're prepping the car for summer. So now they're deconing the car. Winter's finished. They're going to remove all the grime, maybe machine polish it. Certainly in summer, you'll see an increase in machine polisher sales, or certainly the run up to summer. That's when machine polisher sales will certainly go up, and you'll sell more of them. But then as it comes closer to winter, you may sell more snow foam, etc., as people get the cars ready for winter.
Kind of links to the YouTube videos that we create for seasonal stuff as well, doesn't it? Does that not tie in together? We know that those videos are people are going to start trying to get the swells out of their car because the sunlight's come out. That sort of stuff. Does that all chime in as well? It's interesting. Or is December just where everyone's bought loads of gifts and January just is where everyone's overloaded on? Does December and January merge together? Does that make sense? And in February, everyone gets paid again. Does that make sense? So they can start buying again. You've got detailers that buy ceramic coatings off you and they're still detailing through to January, because detailers are doing offers all the time at the moment. It seems to be everyone's doing the discounts on ceramic coatings that have got units and stuff now. So it must keep the doors, like I said, it can't be just there must be a flow of something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I think the unit-based detailers, of course, they're still going to be buying ceramic coatings, etc. But a lot of people now, valeters, I guess, I don't know whether you call them valeters or detailers, who are mobile, who are doing ceramic coatings outside. Those guys, especially with the weather, they can't do nothing really. Some of them.
Well, that's why Zeta. So when they need to get on board with it, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous,
Or change their business model. Listen, during winter, I actually saw a video from someone on Instagram. During winter, if you can't wash the exterior, listen, the interior will still need to clean. Yeah. Just change your packages slightly to accommodate. Don't just take it as a non. Okay, well, I can't wash your car. It was actually Liam from UBV. I can't take the credit for that one, but so he said, listen, if you can't wash the outside, don't just take £0. Say to them, listen, I can't wash the outside. It's raining. I can't do it, but I can still come. I can hoover your inside. I can clean your interior.
Yeah,
you want? I can do
that's a great tip.
Upgraded interior package. Offer them a steam clean. Offer something, so at least you still got the money coming in over the winter.
So Imran. We've got the last few questions now. But I guess we've been going for quite a while.
Fire away.
Hour and 20 minutes. But I've got so many questions I want to ask you. I'm not busy. My head's going bananas with loads of questions. I'm looking at the time.
To get you back in the future, definitely. So, what industry myths would you like to kill off?
Don't say me.
Jonny.
Jonny Shield's definitely a myth.
Industry myths. Let me think. Industry myths.
Tough question.
Get, it's not necessarily an industry myth. What I would like to kill off is I would like to see more people. I would like to see more honest angles when people have done paint correction. So people do paint correction on a panel, and when you look at the panel in the video, they'll show it. They'll show it at a certain angle, and they'll do a 50-50. So they've corrected the panel. Don't get me wrong, they've averaged. But when they show it, it's like 100% perfect, right? If they actually show it properly, there is still some small defects in there that you either cannot get out, or you can get out, but you may need to be wet sanded, or you may need to go an extra couple of stages or whatever. They may be able to be removed, but with what you've done in that combination, you've not achieved the results that people are receiving. And the issue we've got is obviously people will come to us and they'll say, oh, I bought the let's just say X compound and X pad, the same as what the person on YouTube bought. I did it and it removed a lot of the swells, but I've still got some small stuff in there. I said, listen, understand one thing. When you aim for perfection, you'll understand it's a moving target. Set a goal in your head.
He's throwing bars tonight now. He's rapping as well at the same time. There's nothing this man can't do. He's bring out a song later.
when you go for paint correction, if you're getting kind of 60, 70, even up to 80% better from a single stage, accept that that's about the best you're going to get. If you want perfection, you're either going to start having to whip out wet sanding, you're going to have to start going to a 2-stage or something like that. And if you're a new person to polishing, don't aim for perfection. I always say that to everyone who phones up.
Great advice.
Don't aim for perfection. So not necessarily a myth, but certainly when you're showing the 50-50s, show them properly so people can still see the defects in there. And that's a takeaway from you as a detailer who's doing the work. Yeah. You still corrected the panel to the level the customer is paying for, but show the customer, show the people who are watching the video exactly what you're getting.
I think that
what's the customer paying for? That's
the customers point, right? Or the people consuming the content. They don't realize that just having the light closer or further away can show different defects. And as you said, the angles can show different defects as well. Great answer to that question. And the finishing off, what do you love about Garage Therapy, and what is your favorite? Right, and we've got to wrap it all in, Imran.
Right, make it good because I need to clip this up to try and really Can you really hype it up for us, mate? Could you give us a good give me a good clip?
Right, what do you love about Garage Therapy, and what is your favorite Garage Therapy product?
Maz.
Of course, the owners come in there. Obviously, Maz, we chat regularly, and it's been good to be part of the Garage Therapy journey. Of course, we were with you when you were. I think you certainly never had as many products as you had now. You never had the snow foam when we started. You had Decon, you had car shampoo, you had wheel shampoo, and I think you had Sigma at the time as well. I can't remember.
I think it was QD. It was a QD first, and then
QD, Sigma, no, Sigma. When I started, you did have Sigma V1, so maybe I started a bit later. But
just off that.
So what I do like about Garage Therapy, when you bring out a product, I know 100% with 100% confidence it's going to work really, really well, and your customers have got that confidence as well. So when you bring out a product, for example, the Zeta that's coming out, when is it? A month or so? Roughly a few weeks,
hopefully, a week or two. You
don't want to get the release date away yet. I was trying to help you guys out.
But we'll tell you after.
When you bring out a product, your customers have confidence that product's going to work well, and there's always going to be a buzz of sales or a buzz behind products. That I love that about the Garage Therapy, and the fact that products are not just what you accept to bring to market. You want them to be as perfect as you can make them. And I guarantee you that a lot of brands don't do that. They will see a product and it works well enough to bring to market. You don't settle for well enough, you settle for it has to be perfect. Or as perfect in your eyes anyway. And I think that's quite unique for a lot of brands. They don't necessarily look for perfection, they look for adequacy. In terms of my favorite Garage Therapy product, that's hard because Sigma was the first one, obviously, I ever used. That was the first product I ever used, was Sigma. So that's got a special place for me because that's what started the whole journey off. But in terms of the product I use most, car shampoo. That's probably my favorite product.
Really?
Is the car shampoo. Yes, I love car shampoo, and I'm quite fussy on my all the car shampoos I use, because I find a lot of shampoos do this. Is when you use the car shampoo, and I'm not. I shouldn't say this actually, should I really? But I don't measure. I don't measure.
No one's listening, Imran. I promise. You can just tell us. It's only us, mate. Don't worry.
I don't measure 20 mil in a cup and put it in the bucket and measure it to the mil. I'm sorry, I'm not that person. I'll put a couple of glugs in and be done with it. The issue you've got now is with many shampoos in the market, when you've got protection on your vehicle and you use a shampoo and you go to rinse off, it doesn't rinse freely. And there's not many on the market that rinse really freely. In my opinion, Garage Therapy is arguably, if not.
And if it dries on the panel, by the way, if it dries on the panel, you don't start to panic. Does that make sense? It's gonna come off.
It's so free rinsing. It's so free rinsing. It's great. And I use it a lot. Sigma. Sorry, not Sigma. I use Sigma a lot actually as well. But yeah, the car shampoo is probably my favorite.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny you jogged my memory. So I remember that how you got our attention about stocking us is you done a post, didn't you? So I've just used Sigma. It's really good.
That's how I got started, because I said I've used Sigma, and then somebody commented, I think, saying, "Will you be stocking?" And I said,
"It depends on the owners." Yeah.
depends on that was it. And then I think you got in touch with us after that, and you said, "Do you want to work together?" And of course, as with all brands, I'm very flattered, and of course I did my little checks, and Garage Therapy, you don't run loads of sales, and I was like, yeah, this could work, this could do well. And,
was your check like, oh my god, they've only got 3 products?
How many units do you want, Imran?
Here's a question for you, Jonny. This is one for you, and I'm not going to mention any brands here, so this is something for you.
Go on, mate.
And this is totally off topic from Garage Therapy, and people are listening can switch off at this point. This is just between me.
Yeah, go for it, mate.
If you're buying products from a brand, let's just say it's Garage Therapy, shall we say, and Garage Therapy sells their brand onto somebody else. Oh, actually, no, this is a question for Maz, not necessarily for Jonny, more for Maz. Maz, if you sold your brand on to somebody else,
using it, they'd still be buying it. They'd still be buying it.
Would you still buy the brand even if Maz was not there, or Rodger? Sorry, Rodger, I'm ignoring you just now. If Maz was not there, would you still buy the brand if Maz was not there?
You know, God.
Can I answer? Everyone can answer. But I just want to say, if Garage Therapy weren't around now, right? You better pay me the big bucks now. If Garage Therapy weren't around, right? With what I've been taught by Maz and Rodger about chemical makeups and about products and about how they test and how they would like the stuff I've gone down this rabbit hole behind the scenes that will never forever be lock and key. It's gonna be so tough for me to find another brand to compete, and that's because the great job I've got for being with Garage Therapy, Imran, is that it's so easy to sell good products because they sell themselves.
Yeah,
you just have to create information that people can digest to use the products. I've just got the lottery ticket. That's all it is to basically do it, and I just saw it as a thing, but. That process didn't just happen. I went, oh, they're a great brand. I'm going to work for them. It was basically like I went out to scrutinize them early doors and find out whether the YouTubers were talking real or because they were all part-time. They weren't even detailers. They were enthusiasts doing YouTube channels. So I didn't trust any of them. I didn't even trust John Forensic because he wasn't a full-time detailer. He didn't detail full-time. So I was tapped into detailers that were helping me do the stuff. So I then went into the rabbit hole about Garage Therapy, and actually I love being proven wrong about a brand because I went out there to sort of go to just not to shut them down because that's if anyone knows that's not my style. To just question whether the testing was relevant, whether the stuff was relevant, was it all above board? And so for me, it's difficult because I now been so invested, and actually it's the same as my hairdressing business. When I worked for the biggest brands in the world for hairdressing, we had one product system that we work with. I don't want to be using loads of different brands. I don't want that to be the case where people, like the customers, don't trust me because I'm using all different types of brand because I feel like I'm testing or using. I wanted one brand, one system, and that matched hopefully that gave the customer the reassurance that I knew what I was talking about. I didn't need multiple brands to do stuff, and Garage Therapy does that for me. So it would be very, very hard. So I would probably, if you put me on it, if you put me to the test to know what it probably would be a split between Labo and G-Technic in that sense, because of what they do.
So you're saying if Maz wasn't there, if Maz wasn't involved in Garage Therapy,
it would probably be G-Technic because of the infrastructure.
No, but I'm saying GT's still around. So Maz has sold GT to Mr. Joe Blogs.
Yeah,
you still buy the GT from Mr. Joe Blogs.
No, I've already been in a situation before where the brand I used to use before I was with GT, which I love to pieces, by the way, I love the owner, and I've had that relationship for 3 years with them as well. I've always had great relationships with owners. Once he sold his business, it was at the same business for me, and he knows that because I've told him that, and that's the same thing. It doesn't matter with the chemicals, the same stuff. It just for me, like you said about earlier about the relationship I have with the guys here and the relationship I have. It would be difficult to pick up that relationship, and that does add something to me. That does add a bias to me. That does make me biased, but it doesn't make me biased enough to tell them when I think they're wrong about like doing something or having an opinion on it. Then they'll explain on why they've gone down that road. I'll still be honest with them about stuff. So that makes sense. They know I'm honest. They know I don't mess about with what I have to say.
That shows you the success behind Garage Therapy is because Maz and Rodger are heavily involved in its success.
That's my point.
If the owner of Gion, who I don't even know what his name is, if he was to sell Gion to another person, we wouldn't even know. It wouldn't even trickle down to us.
You wouldn't
even know. In which case, the people who are Gion customers would still be Gion customers because they don't know the fact that owners change. That product is still the product. Wet coat still wet coat, etc., etc. Whereas if Maz was to sell GT, this is where brands like Maz's have built that relationship with the customer, like yourself. And you're saying if Maz was involved now, I would not be involved. And that's where the two are tied quite closely together, which is a great thing in terms of building the brand, but harder thing for future planning because now Maz needs to think 10 years down the line, people who are GT may not be GT. And this is a hard thing for me as well as In2Detailing, of course. A lot of people know Imran. If Imran's not there, are they going to continue buying from In2Detailing? This is where it becomes quite difficult when you've got that personal touch.
Yeah. You see it a lot, don't you? Not just in our sector, in lots of different sectors where companies get acquired or they get moved on and they're never quite the same. But there's also success stories where there's acquisitions and the companies improve. And you're quite right, Imran. It's not to do with it all comes down to the customers and whether or not the figurehead of the company is prominent, right? So would Built Hamber still be Built Hamber without Pete Hamber? Probably not, right? No. So and I guess it's the same for Rodger and I. If we're not
at the same time, if Pete Hamber wasn't involved, would someone who's buying Built Hamber Auto from me even know? It's unlikely they know. If they're emailing, if they're emailing Built Hamber, Pete's probably not the one getting back to them. I'm guessing. Yes, customer. And if they phone Built Hamber, chances are Pete's. So they know of Pete Hamber, but they don't have a personal relationship with him as they do with, for example, yourself, Rodger, myself.
And I think and it obviously all depends on not. It's not just. I don't think this is a GT specific question. I think it's just any brand that builds that affiliation with the owners.
I use an example, but it's right.
It could be you. It could be anything. I think it just depends on how that company markets itself and presents itself. Would Facebook or Meta still be Facebook or Meta without Zuckerberg? It's the same sort of thing. Will they lose people that use that platform if he goes and it changes? We just don't know. But it's a great question. I don't know if we'll ever know the real answer to it until it happens, right?
I've got one question for it. I said this to Maz the other day. I think I said this to Maz the other day. And it's a question for you, Imran. These guys love detailing. They love keep chasing the products, the new materials that are coming out. They love keep moving the needle to stay leading. But if they weren't around and the products stayed the same,
yeah,
and I'm sure you've seen a lot of brands that you've stocked that haven't ever changed their formulations for years and years and years, right? But still sell a lot of units.
yeah.
If their brands, if they never changed or reformulated or brought out better versions to improve, whether it's for more materials or for whatever it is, would they still be successful with what they have today?
In my opinion, yes. So if
they chose not to bring out another version ever again, have they got the nuts and bolts to compete for the long term across the board?
In my opinion, yes. Yes.
I agree, but I'm going to sit here biased, aren't I? But I think sometimes you've tapped on it before, and I've said this to Maz. That's where the marketing comes in, because actually marketing can actually outdo a product if it's a, let's just say, a middle of the road product, if that makes sense. With the good marketing can do really, really well. It's still got to perform, right? It's still got to perform. It's still got to take the thing off. But these two guys here just keep chasing the detailing side of the stuff. They're chasing perfection with they're not doing cars anymore. They're chasing perfection with products, and that's what gives us the excitement and the buzz and the hype. I'm so buzzing for this year that the product's coming out, mate, by the way. You know, I mean, my mouth is grinning because I'm like, it's excited.
What I will say, what they do well is, from a reseller perspective, so Maz says, okay, we've got a new version, and you've already touched on it, a new version of snow foam coming out. Imran, how much stock of V2 do you have? And I'll say, okay, I've got this much stock. Okay, how long is that going to take you roughly to sell? And he'll time the release based on the reseller selling up. Because the last thing we want to do is have, 100 bottles of snow foam V2. Maz just suddenly launches a snow foam V3, and now our snow foam V2 is now defunct. We need to sell it much cheaper to recover at least some money from it, because everyone's going to want V3. So he does that really well. Not all brands do, but yeah, it is something.
Do you know what's funny though, Imran, right? People still have V1 and they're still holding on to it. They don't want to use it.
It's like a champagne. You keep them for certain years.
It's like a vintage wine.
I got the vintage from 19.
It's a 2020 model. It's a 2020.
Jonny, do you speak a lot? Do you speak to a lot of like regular customers, just regular Joes? I do, but I'm just asking if you do yourself.
Yeah, a lot. A lot. That's why I don't get many videos out, mate. I'm doing a lot of admin.
This is something that's interesting. Is sometimes I'll speak to customers that come in the shop or they phone me up, and I'll just ask them randomly. I said, and they're buying like a quick detailer or something, and they said, I saw this one on YouTube. For example, John did a review on X quick detailer, and I thought it was really good. So I'm going to buy a bottle of that, and then I'm going to buy another. And they'll ask me a question. And on that phone call, I'll just say randomly to them, I said, you're buying that quick detailer, and it is a really good. How many bottles of quick detailer by chance do you have? And he said, I've got about 6 bottles. So at some point, you must have bought those 6 bottles because they were good.
My garage is full of all the stuff I bought chasing the golden ticket of what brand was the best. And I just, look, Maz will tell you, like, I was like, mate, I'm not picking up any other products at the moment to use to do my cars. I keep going back to the same products, and it's like, and from the flip side of it, and I know you got to be impartial, but from the flip side of it, I struggle because I'm like, when people don't get it, I'm like, how are you not getting it? Like it's amazing. It's doing like things are happening. Like when Decon Shampoo does its thing, it's like, I mean, that's probably why it's the hero product, right, in the range, because it just does its thing. Does that make sense? And so, it's they've basically left me with a garage full of products that I can't use or I don't even want to use anymore. So I find it frustrating, and I can't even review any. I can't really review them anymore because it's kind of pointless, because I found home, if that makes sense. If that makes any sense, and I think that's. Yeah, it's you've got to be impartial, but like I said, you work with all. And there are great brands out there, by the way, and I love the fact that it's very competitive in the market, because that's why these guys are panicking, but providing us with a great service of improving the range all the time and working with it. And I think not everyone's going to get it, and not everyone's going to use GT for all types of reasons. Whether it might be the labels, it could be anything because of the user experience. Maybe the shampoos don't smell as like aftershave or something. It could be something very, very minor. It could be just a case of they're so passionate about the other brands they use, not mentioning any names, and they just want to hate on it for a reason. And that'll happen when the snow foam comes out. There will be the Trojan army coming out to disprove that it's doing what it's doing, if that makes sense. And I think that's okay. I think that's healthy as well. Does that make sense? It's healthy for you as resellers. It's healthy for you as resellers that it's competitive.
Any discussion is good discussion.
Yeah. But I just find it funny sometimes when they say they've got 6-week deals. I'm like, the first one you bought it because maybe you saw a video, you liked it, and then you bought the second one and you thought that was better than the first one. You wouldn't have bought the second one. So then what made you go from 3, 4, 5, 6, and now you're buying number 7? Right?
How do you stop yourself from being biased then as a reseller with all these brands? How do you stop yourself from being like a YouTuber where you're not biased? How do you do that?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult, especially as a reseller. It's very difficult because what will happen is, and this is the most common question, and when you interview other resellers, I'll tell you, the most common question is, what is the best X?
Always.
And that's
always.
And
I get that all the time in my comments. All the time. What's the best thing for this?
It's easy for you. You just say garage therapy, right? It's harder for me. so
what do you mean it's hard? What?
because for example, let's say a customer phones up and he says, "What's the best car shampoo?" And I say, "Oh, well, garage therapy car shampoo." I treat every phone call I get, and other people probably do similar. I don't know, but I treat every phone call I get as if the brand owner from the brand I'm not recommending is phoning me. So, for example, Mr. Gion is phoning me and I'm recommending garage therapy. He's going to be pissed off. No doubt. Because 1 second, you're selling our brand, and as me selling the brand, I'm a representative effectively for that brand. And if they ask me what is the best, and I say garage therapy car shampoo, then surely they're going to ask me, well, why the hell are you selling another 20 shampoos? If that's the best, just sell that one then, right? I can tell you what I like. I can't tell you it's the best. So if I'm using a quick detailer and I use quick detailer X, I can say, if they ask me what is the best, I'll say, listen, there is no best car shampoo. I can say, listen, what do you want from the car shampoo? Do you want it to have sealant in it? Do you want it to be a protection? Do you want it to wax it? Or do you want it to be a pure shampoo? I want it to be a pure shampoo. Okay, you've narrowed it down slightly for me. I'll say, I would recommend one, and I'll recommend 3 or 4 different ones. So that's generally the way I'll go. So I'll say, you've got garage therapy car shampoo, you've got X, Y, Z.
You put GT at the front, didn't you? Just put that bottle forward. You can use that one.
but the same is for compounds. I can't say, if they say, listen, I'm looking for a medium cut compound.
That's really difficult. That's impossible.
If I say S20, I'm ignoring F6, Menzena 2500, 2400, Sonax Perfect Finish, Regenerate from Angel Wax, etc. You know, if I can't say S20 because that's doing the other brands a disservice. So I've got to say, listen, if you're looking for a medium cut compound, these are 3 or 4 different ones. These are 3 or 4 different paths. Choose a path, choose a compound. If you've happened to seen it already on YouTube, it makes my life easier. Just choose the one you've seen. But if not, I'll generally give 4 or 5 recommendations, and I say, listen, these are the ones you can kind of choose between. And if you choose any of them, you'll be happy with any of them. The differences between them are not super significant. There is certain products where I think between different brands, where you will see a difference, especially with regards to compounds. I mean, some of them, and you know, you'll get people who still buy the Menzana stuff, and people say, oh, no, it's too dusty. You get people who like Koch, you get people who like Perfect Finish, etc. It comes down a lot of time to the machine, the pad you're using, the speed you're using, the pressure you're putting on, so many different factors. And you, for example, Johnny, you'll have your own favorite compound and pad combination, whether it's Visa, whether it's Koch, etc., etc. So, you know, I can't say this is the best because I don't know. It's just, it works best for me because it's the way I use the machine or the machine I'm using. I can't say it's the best for you. If you ask me for quick detailing and I say garage therapy, you might not like it. You might want BSD because it gives you super high, it's super durable and high beads. If that's what tickles your fancy, go ahead. I prefer the ease of application. It's what's good for you. It's not necessarily what's good for me. And if you ask me for the best, generally I'll recommend 4 or 5 different ones.
I guess that's the secret, isn't it? Then if they don't ask you what's the best, what do you use, Imran? That's then you get the right answer.
Switzerland.
Come around the back. Come around the back.
This is a problem we've got because a lot of times I'll use products either I'm sent or you know I've got. Sometimes you get broken bottles, and I'll just use because listen, any product I sell, I'll happily use. So sometimes we'll get a bottle that's broken, or a bottle's leaked, or we've dropped it off a shelf and the cap's snapped off, right? So in which case, I'll just use that product. Doesn't matter what it is. And they say, "What are you using now?" Well, I'm using a product that was broken on the shelf. That's why I'm using it. Not necessarily because I think it's the best. So yeah, it's a difficult one.
My final question is: have you ever been in a situation where there's one product and one brand you love, but all the rest of the products just don't hit, and it's like you stock them all, but they just don't. There's one great product in that range, but the rest just don't sell. How does that factor in? Because it's like, how do you then play that balancing game? Or does that even happen? Does that ever happened?
So there's obviously certain products within a brand I prefer from other products. I think most people say that. There's certain products within the brand that you think are just standout products. Now, some of the other products you might not like as much, me personally, but as a reseller, I like to have the full brand stocking there. I like to go from A to Z in every size of every product, including the microfibers, etc. I'll try and have so when they're buying from me, it's almost as if they're buying from the company themselves. I don't like to pick and choose products. So, for example, let's just say we take Garage Therapy as an example, and I love all your products, Maz, but I'm going to say this outside. So let's just say, for example, I say, okay, I like car shampoo, I like Sigma, and I like the Snow Foam. I'm not going to go to Maz and say, okay, can I stock the car shampoo, the Sigma, and the Snow Foam? I don't want to stock the rest because I'm not super keen on them.
Yeah.
And I'm just putting this theoretically, right? I love them all. But I think if someone shops an In2Detailing as a reseller, as a representative of Garage Therapy, they should be able to shop as if they're shopping on Garage Therapy. They're getting the same prices, they're getting the same products in any size they want. The only reason they shop with me over Garage Therapy is either A, because I deliver quicker, or
No, for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, guaranteed.
The reason they shop with me is because they want to get Garage Therapy because they like the products, but they also want to buy, let's just say, for example, a brand X, brand Y, brand Z. They also want to buy other products, but at the same time, they want to have that same Garage Therapy shopping experience. So they want all the products available. And I think as a reseller, that's the hard thing. You need to have every product from the brands you're stocking, every product in every size. And I try to do that with all the brands.
Amazing.
Yeah. And on that note,
I just want to wrap it on one last thing.
One last question.
Where do you feel like the future's going for detailing, knowing what you know from the past? What do you predict in the future?
In terms of what the new trend's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, like you in your head, where do you see it going next? I mean, we've seen a big increase from 2020 to 2026 already with new detailers, short form, YouTube, done X, Y, Z. Been in this industry for 16 years. You pivoted well, you've organised well, you've managed well, you're still in front of doing everything you can. You have a big name still in the UK for where to buy from. So you must see trends, you must see things happening that you think I need to move into that, or and where do you think detail is going? Are we going to see more snake oil into the market, or are we going to see it go back the other way? Are we going to see where long form becomes in, where people just want to, the economy's tight? Is it just they're just going to sort of narrow down what they're buying, narrow down what they're spending? Are we in this sort of state? I think different. I mean, they're all different questions, different topics. But where do you see detailing as a whole? Where do you see where do you have an idea of where you think it might go next?
I think it's going to be pretty similar to how it's continued, how it was last year. I think people are going to be more. I think people are more money conscious now. So I think the concentrated products, which I guess is where Garage Therapy has an advantage here because all the products are well concentrated. I think the concentrated products are going to do well now. The more concentrated you can get your products, the better value for money you can provide. I think the better you will sell the products. The budget people are looking for budget products. Are always going to look for budget products. If they want £10 for 5 liters of citrus, they're always going to be there. But the people who want good products are going to look for value for money over fancy labels. I think the days of super fancy labels is gone, in my opinion. I think people look for more professionally labeled products.
Do you still see TikTok holding its pace in the short form content? Do you think that's going to die off in the future?
I think for as long as TikTok is giving the incentives they're giving to sellers, not to sellers, to buyers. Because of course, the way TikTok works, and you might have seen this already. So, for example, and we'll use Stjarnagloss as an example here, because it's probably one of the biggest on TikTok. When you see a bottle of Forster's retail price at around £10, and you're able to go on TikTok and buy it for £6, TikTok is giving you 40% discount. That's not Cavat Stjarnagloss giving you that discount. TikTok is giving.
That's what I'm saying. How's that? That's got to affect you surely on stocking that product.
100% it affects us, of course, because people can go on TikTok, get it £4 cheaper, and get close to free shipping. Or sometimes get free shipping. I mean, I'll be honest. We sell on TikTok. We sell some bits. We're not huge sellers on TikTok, but I've had people buy a bottle of Stjarnagloss Force. I've given them 0 discount for £2, and I'm getting the full money. There's only so long I believe that business model can.
Exactly. It's a bleeding wallet, isn't it?
I mean, it has to be. I mean, I don't know how much money they're doing a customer grab, and from what I've heard, I believe Amazon's buying the e-commerce side of it anyway, or has maybe bought it already. I don't know, but
Wow.
I believe Amazon's been involved. And when Amazon's involved in it, then I think they've got to do something, because they can't keep bleeding money like that. Eventually, that bubble's got to burst or stabilize at a sustainable level. It can't keep giving people crazy discounts. So yeah, I think TikTok, for as long as they continue giving those discounts, I think it's going to continue to grow. It is what it is, and certainly they're encouraging people to be affiliates on there, in terms of, if they put out a short format video on a product and they're getting commission, and they have to do literally nothing. I mean, people are making a living off it now. Ignore detailing products. You go on there, half the videos there are adverts of, a coffee machine or a t-shirt or a pair of trousers or a picture or whatever.
It's
and they say click on the buy. Yeah, it's based, and they click on the buy button. You're saving 50% on the product, which TikTok's covering. So the seller's getting their full money, the affiliate's getting their 10, 15, 20% commission. They're making a living off videos. So as long as that continues, TikTok's going to keep on growing until that business model comes.
I think it's also killed off the mini resellers. It's also for your business. It's killed off the mini resellers, the ones that used to buy in the stuff from China and sell it like a tire applicator or a tire this or bits and pieces that they were buying loads of Chinese stuff. That actually Temu's got rid of them. It's kicked them out, because now there's less competition now, because we now know where they're buying it from. So now we can buy it direct rather than. Does that make sense?
Temu absolutely has an effect. Temu, AliExpress, etc. They have an effect. I think absolutely on small brushes, tire brushes, etc. But you can get them from Temu for £1 or AliExpress or whatever, and they're doing a money grab on this sort of stuff. Of course, it's going to affect the sales, but at the end of the day, people who want the stuff so there's two reasons they buy from either ourselves, Clean and Shiny. I can see he's on the chat, so I don't know if he's still there. Keep clean and shiny, clean your car, etc. Two reasons. One, they want to have the products quicker. If it's going to take you 2-3 weeks from Temu, they don't want to wait the time. They're quite happy to spend £2-3 extra. That's one thing. Number two is they'll know we have done the quality control testing on the products that we're supplying to you. So on Temu, you could buy a microfiber cloth that they say is 1400 GSM. It comes to it's only 900 GSM, or it's got threads ripped or whatever, and you have to do a money back claim, and then you just wasted 3 weeks of your life waiting for a towel that's below par. They know for a fact they're buying from a reseller, like say, whether it's myself, Clean and Shiny, Clean Your Car, Ultimate Finish, etc. They know when they're buying from a reseller. I'll mention my car cleaning as well, because he's going to get annoyed if he ever watches this.
Can you mention all the resellers that we go?
No, doesn't.
So we don't get us in trouble as well. Can you mention all of them?
So if they're buying a microfiber from a more established reseller, they know for a fact they're going to get a product that's going to be what they're expecting to buy. Yes, it's costing me a little bit more. Could they have potentially got that same product from AliExpress or Temu £5 cheaper? Potentially, but then you're running the risk of the product not being as you expected. So has it affected sales? Yes, but not to the level
that you think it would do.
Some people, not to the level you think it would do, because of course they've got trust behind the bigger brands.
Imran, we could have you on 3 times, I think. There's just, like I said, it's just a thread. It's been great to see the chat getting involved as well, talking stuff. They've been heavily involved. There's a lot of people on there, Imran, that are in the States, so they obviously don't have that affiliation with you in the UK, if that makes sense. And so you've definitely gained a few people. Do you ship internationally? Just out of interest.
We don't, and the reason for that is, and I'll explain the reason we don't. So, firstly, the reason we don't ship internationally is ever since this Brexit things happened. Of course, you have to enter in commodity codes. So at the start, we had it open for a little bit. I think about a 2-3 week window, and people were buying, and we had to enter commodity codes. For us, it took us like 6 times as long to create the shipment, right? And then the problem you've got is if you charge VAT here, of course, you don't pay VAT there. But there, for example, someone in Germany says, I want to buy this from you. Can you send me an invoice without VAT? So you need to set up the whole Shopify thing to take off the VAT, etc. So you set up, they buy the product from here, then they get the product there, and they get a bill from UPS saying, you're due us this money. And they email me, why am I due this money? I'm not due me the money, you're due UPS money. Why? You never paid VAT here. The tax man's going to get his money somewhere. So you need to pay the VAT, and then you have to pay the import duty and some handling charge, and the handling charge is unavoidable. So they're like, I don't want to pay the charges, right? Okay. So then the product's going to have to come back to me, right? Okay. So now I need to pay for it to get shipped back to me. When it comes back to me, the customer's going to want a full refund. Once I paid you £50 plus £10, I want a full refund. So I've now refunded you the full money. I've had to pay for ship it to you, ship it back to me for a complete bit. So until people, and some people in Europe are fine, but until you got everyone in Europe understanding, listen, there's going to be VAT and duty and handling charge to pay, and you can't make a claim back because of mistake, because you just get a credit card claim, and of course the money gets snapped from you anyway. I don't know anyone who's won a Shopify claim from a credit card chargeback ever in their life. John can answer this one. If he's had any credit card chargeback that he's won, please tell me the secret, because I've never won one. And you ship the product. They could be literally with a credit card chargeback. I could ship a product to you, Johnny. You could stand there butt naked with a box in your hand. And
I do.
You could do a credit
that's my next video, Imran. That's my next video. I told you not to put that one out there.
you do a credit card chargeback, and I say, listen, here's the guy standing there with the box in his hand, butt naked, and they'll say, no, he can get his money back. It's ridiculous. So hopefully at some point the government decides they're going to open things up to Europe, because we get literally emails daily from people begging me for stock from Europe, and I'm like, listen, I'm not going to run the risk, but hopefully it'll open up the European shipping, and when it does, of course, it's going to increase business, which is great for us. But yeah, so we did lose a little bit from Europe. We weren't shipping massively to Europe, but yeah, we did lose a bit. And I think if they open that up, it's going to increase business for everyone, to be fair. Because listen, a lot of the brands you can't get in Europe, or certainly not close to them. So it's going to be difficult for them. So yeah.
Well, listen, you've been a fantastic guest. I want to thank everyone who's been watching the stream tonight. It's been amazing. You know, I think there's so many. I'm glad you. Honestly, thanks for being so open as well. Because I know as a reseller, treading the line carefully between the brands you work with, all that sort of stuff. It's a difficult dance. Me and Maz were picking through questions, trying to find out how we can give you. You know, try not to put you in a situation of compromising you with different situations.
Listen,
but you've been on it. I have to say, after meeting you, I haven't known you that long, but your honesty is really, 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 obviously, like, we appreciate it. Like, you just shoot from the hip and being honest about certain things. And so it's been great having you on. And how has it been for your debut?
Oh, it's been good. Yeah.
I won't stop ringing now, mate. I have to be your agent.
We should stay on have more of a chat. Listen, I like general detailing chat, or general chat, just chat in general, to be fair. It doesn't have to be focused on any brand. Listen, when it comes to brands, I thank every single brand for allowing us to stock your products. Listen, we wouldn't be anywhere without any of the brands. Garage Therapy is one of those. Listen, without Maz allowing us to stock the products, we can't sell the products. And
that's exactly why we wanted to have you on, Imran. You know, you guys,
class. Been a touch of class,
the Imrans of this world, the John Hulls of this world, the Amars of this world. You know, all of the resellers, the Tim. And Dave at Clean Your Car, they're all unsung heroes, right, of the industry. You know, everyone wants to see, you know, the brand faces and stuff like that. But the people that really propel the brands and help the brands are the resellers and the distributors and stuff like that. And they need to be recognized. And hopefully we can get more. You know, we get John on, we get Amar on in the future, we get all the other resellers to come on and have their say, and we'll definitely do a part 2, Imran, with yourself.
Look forward to it.
Just
detailing
questions.
stuff. Just your passion for detailing.
Yeah. We just talk about detailing stuff. Listen, we don't even talked about Autobright yet, but we'll get to that.
That's a sore subject for a lot of people. Not us. We've got nothing to do with it. But
I want to make it clear. This is zero offense to Autobright whatsoever. I don't know what's happened there. I've only read what I've read, so yeah. I was just a side joke.
Listen, I'm lost for words, Imran.
There we go. This is the first time for everything.
I'm the one that normally leaves the mic drop, Imran. You just do you know? I'll tell you what. I think GT are looking for a new podcast. I think you're a good thing, but honestly, I think we have to do part 2. Let us know down in the comment section, guys, if you've enjoyed this episode. We're going every fortnight, live stream. We don't know where it's going sometimes. We try and prep as much as we can. Hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button. Obviously, now you've seen Imran, go and give him a follow on Instagram. Watch him now doing his thing, his Instagram reels. Give him some support.
One thing.
Go. Plug his stuff. Plug it now. Plug it.
The car's getting changed. So if anyone follows us on Instagram, you'll see that the white M5 that I've got, thankfully, which is all thanks to the customers, to be fair. You paid for the M5, not me. I wouldn't have that car.
Does that mean they get to drive it?
When I started In2Detailing, I had a Mercedes C270 CDI 2004 with 170,000 miles on the clock, and it blew up. I say blew up. The turbo went on it, or whatever it was.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
And then I had to go, and I spent £1,000 on a BMW 320 diesel, which was a banger, but it got me about. So from there to now, when obviously I've got the M5, I'm very grateful, and the customers and people like Maz and brands, etc. You guys have made it all possible. But the M5 is being changed. So follow us, and yeah, you'll see what the new car is.
And also,
Wonderful.
Imran's life story is coming out soon on YouTube, so you can follow him.
The book's following.
It's called From Rags to Riches, the Scottish way. You know what I mean?
It's
from microfiber to rags.
Yeah, it's from microfibers to YouTube sensation.
I've been very, very blessed along the way. Listen, I would, people say, oh, how would you do it, etc., etc. Listen, it's nothing to do with me. I mean, I put in the hard work, yes, but there's many people who work just as hard as me, and unfortunately, it's not as successful. So I can't say.
I think I found my new best friend. I found my new best friend.
Sorry, far too humble. That's why the industry loves you.
I'm
Cool.
blessed.
It's look, we appreciate you, Imran, for, you know, like I said, I was so excited to have you on. I haven't met you before. I haven't spoken to you before. I've dealt with loads of people. For whatever reason, we haven't crossed paths. And like I said, we have recently with bits and pieces and stuff. And so it's great, like I said, to have you on, because I generally look forward to these episodes when I don't know anything about the guest. I knew nothing. I had nothing to go on. So I said to Maz, like, lead the show, and I've loved every minute of it. Personally, selfishly, this is why I love doing the podcast, because selfishly, sitting with great people, sitting about conversation, talking about detail, and the chat have been loving it as well. They've been just chiming in and joining along. So I said we will have you on for part 2. It's definitely, like I said, maybe it's just going to be about detailing stuff, just what stuff you like, bits and pieces. And I can hear like your orders are going bananas in the back, so you might have to go down there.
Orders still going.
They're just like chinging in the background. I've had that Shopify noise before. Do you know what I mean? So thanks for coming on. So thanks for coming on, Imran. We appreciate you having your debut with us. Thanks a lot to Maz and Rodger. Have you got things to say, guys, before we go?
No, just thanks, obviously, to Imran for coming on to our live podcast. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks to everyone in the Riverside chat as well. It's hard to focus on 2 chats, so we've got some feedback on there. So we'll try and interact with the Riverside people as well. No, thank you to everyone, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys. Any guests, any questions? Because we didn't touch on any of the questions from some of the product stuff in there. Just leave it under the video. Maz and Rodger get back to everyone super fast.
Yeah, and I'll keep checking the video as well. So if you want to ask me any questions, feel free. And
we appreciate it, Imran. The fact that, if you want to ask Imran anything, any questions about sort of stuff, we'll leave all the links down in the description to Imran's In2Detailing page and all that sort of stuff as well. So again, thanks to the hardcore faithful, the GT faithful, all the creators, all the people that have been watching tonight. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks' time, and let us know what you want to see next. We'll take care, guys. All the best.
Bye.